The role of Israel is to elevate the nations of the earth and their people, and then also exemplify the authority and the power of the Torah to all these nations. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 3 of Torah portion Shophtim. Let's consider the idea of leadership, especially found in the offices of a judge and a king. Israel was to establish in the gates of their cities judges, men who would hear court cases, claims of abuse, claims of fraud, of unfair financial business transactions, and determine who was right between the parties. So gates symbolically represent a place of authority. The gates of hell will not prevail against the advancement of the kingdom of heaven. That is, the authorities of hell, the authorities of Sheol, that which is of death and darkness. And so we find then that these judges were to sit in the gates, and also they were to rule the nation. Samuel the prophet, is a prime example. In chapter number 17, and verse number 9 and 10, it says that we are to rise up, go to the place where Yahweh our Elohim has chosen, and shall come to the priests and the Levites and to the judge who is in those days, and shall inquire, and they shall declare to you the word of right ruling, and you shall do according to the word which they declare to you from that place which Yahweh chooses, and you shall guard to do according to all that they instruct you. So when Israel had righteous judges, they prospered. The people were well cared for. Proper leadership that led to righteousness and righteous covenant communities was effected. When there were judges, however, that were evil, that sought their own advancement, that never happens. When judges were detractors from the Torah and did not follow the ways of Yah, the people suffered. Finally, the peoples looked around at the nations that surrounded them, and as Samuel warned, you're going to desire a king, and Yah is going to give it to you, and it's going to be a bad thing. Now, let's back up and look at our day. There are those who would say, whatever the Levites say to us, that is the rabbinical class of scholars and rabbinical Judaism, whatever they say, we need to be doing. So if they say you can't turn on a light on Shabbat, you shouldn't do that. Or if they decree no cheese on your burger, you're not allowed to do that. Whatever they say, you're just to accept it. That's just the way it is. We did not leave institutional, denominational Christianity to go all the way over to rabbinical Judaism because that was the other option. We have found ourselves somewhere in the middle. Now, while there are good pastors, good evangelists, good prophetic style preachers in Christianity, there are also solid rabbis with great understanding and great wisdom that are found in rabbinical Judaism. There are certain rabbis that I love to read after. I have certain favorite ones that I go to frequently just to see what it is that they have to say, and I have learned a great deal. But to follow a Christian pulpit person or a rabbi simply because of their title and whatever they say you accept, no questions asked, I don't think Yah is asking any of us to go down that path. We are to follow them as they follow the Word and as they follow Messiah. So there has to be a sense of balance. In that day, when Messiah Yeshua returns, he will be king and rule over the nations, and he will also be judge over his people, Israel. Now, ideally, Israel was supposed to function as a confederation of tribal states, each one unique, each one having their particular abilities and focuses, each one called to function in certain arenas. Having different tribal allotments of land meant that some dwelt in the plains, some in the mountains, some in the coastal areas. They each had a different lifestyle, but there was one temple, one high priest, one judge over the other judges, one central focus, one Elohim. The centrality of these focuses brought the people to a unified state. So it wasn't the color of their skin, their accent in their language. It wasn't their preoccupation of jobs. It wasn't necessarily their history, although they shared a great extent of the common history. Each tribe, again, was unique. But it was the fact that they all followed the same Elohim and all worshiped at the same house under the same righteous spiritual leadership that brought these people to a common bond to where they functioned as one nation. In Ezekiel chapter 37, we find this truth that has been well rehearsed in Hebraic root circles, and that is that the house of Yehudah, primarily comprised of those who are Jews in the land, although there are Jews around the world, but those who are a part of that house will be joined together with the house of Joseph, known as Ephraim, known as Israel. We are in large part unknown to ourselves, while there may be some tens of thousands of us who have come to this realization here in the land of exile of America, and perhaps a bit more around the world. The vast majority of this house is still lost to themselves, unaware of who they are, unaware of their history, of their lineage, of the call that is upon their lives. Yet Ezekiel says that they will rise up and they will become as one stick. And that stick in the hand of Joseph will be joined with the stick that is in the hand of Yehudah. And they will become one. We will become one people. We will live in one land. We will have one house of worship. We will have one Torah. And we will have one king who will sit upon David's throne. And we will live together in the land of Israel within the borders that was promised to our father Abraham. This dream seems an impossibility. There's not enough time, it would think, that how can we awaken so many? Well, we can't sit back on the porch and wait for it to take place. This is not a time for you and I to twiddle our thumbs and pray, well, Father, make it happen, and if I can help, I will, amen. No, we need to be crying out to our Father. Reveal Ephraim to me. Where is Ephraim still living in the pig pen? How do I make him aware? How do I make her aware of who they are? How can I be a revelation of this house that you're assembling together in this day? The tendency is to tell them everything that we know the first 5 minutes that we find them. They choke. Give them a nugget, a small nugget, a minuscule nugget. Smile, love them, and let them chew. You see them again, give them another bite, another nugget, and let them chew. And if they have a heart and an ear to hear what the Ruach HaKodesh is saying, they will begin to come back for more. Systematically, bite after bite, chew after chew. You can begin to make them aware of who they are. At some point, they're ready to learn. The greatest thing that you and I can do to create an awareness of who we are and who they are is to rejoice in our Redeemer. Put a smile on your face, even in the midst of these awful, constricted, limiting days, and let the joy and the life of Yeshua be exemplified through us. Somebody is bound to notice and start asking questions. We'll talk tomorrow a little bit more. Until then, shalom.